Today, I'm going to be ranking every medallion that's ever been in Fortnite so we can figure out which medallion is truly the best. As we start off with the worst. At 19, Mysterio Stealth Medallion turned you invisible for just 15 seconds, but you could be easily spotted whilst it was activated. The medallion marked you on the minimap anyway because you were holding a medallion, and you had to be crouching for the effect to even work. Now, some crazy pro players did manage to use this as a good way of rotating in endgame in professional games of Fortnite, but in pretty much every public game of Fortnite, no one would ever pick this thing up because it was not very good. But what is good news is that every medallion after this is going to get better as we go to number 18, the Birthday Medallion. Added in for a very short period of time to celebrate Fortnite's 7th birthday. You could get it from the legendary birthday presents and would grant you a balloon every 56 seconds. You could only have a maximum of 3 balloons on your back and was unique in the fact that you could have more than one of these medallions on the map at a time. As cool as it was to have this medallion randomly added into the game, most of the time it was annoying having a balloon randomly pop up on your back and could actually end up getting you killed. And I think I only picked it up to complete the birthday quest, and that was pretty much it. Montague's medallion is next. With the introduction medallions in chapter 5, all the medallions did the same thing, so I've included what the mythic weapons did for these ones to give them a ranking as well. Picking up a single medallion in chapter 5 season 1 would give you a little bit of regen of health and shield, with the effect stacking if you're holding more of the medallions at the same time. The medallions themselves are exactly the same, but Montague was off in a really odd location in Grand Glacier, making him annoying to get to. He had the mythic Nemesis AR, which wasn't as good as the other mythics that were available at the time, and as a result he just felt like a very forgotten boss, so he's been ranked quite low on this list. In chapter 5 season 2 we got the Aspect of Speed Medallion, which gave you slight boost to your jumping height and sprinting speed, whilst also making you immune to fall damage if you were sprinting. A really cool idea, and with there being so many mountains on the map at the time, it sounded like it'd be really good, but the effects actually only lasted a few seconds. You had to take down Zeus to get it, who was one of the hardest bosses on the map at the time, so there wasn't much point in actually going for it. Valeria's medallion is next. I have such a fond spot in my heart for all the original medallion boss holders. The medallion again doing the effect of giving you a little bit of health and shield once picked up. Now, mythic hyper SMG was pretty strong, but in that chapter, SMGs weren't really the best weapon to pick up. If you remember, a lot of the players were running around with their really annoying ballistic shields to counter those SMGs as well. Ares, one of my favorite spots on the map, despite it being quite out of the way, and maybe that is why I liked it. The Aspect of Combat medallion, once picked up, would give you a slight increase to all ranged weapons of around 6% depending on the weapon type. One of my favorite things you got alongside this was more so the weapon, which was the mythic Warforged assault rifle, which was so good. The actual damage increase and the effects in the medallion weren't that good, giving most rifles just 1 more damage. Some weapons got a few extra damage, but if you compared all the other medallions that were on the map during chapter 5 season 2, this one was really weak. Nisha's medallion giving you again the health and shield bonus that you got back in chapter 1, but she had the mythic striker assault rifles, one of the strongest assault rifles at that time, with big damage, low recoil, pushing her above some of the other chapter 5 season 1 medallion holders. And I just have so many fond memories, as I said, of this map, of the bosses, and of chapter 5 season 1. Ringmaster Scar is next. Despite pretty much hating chapter 5 season 3, a lot of people didn't really like it with all the cars and nitro fists. If you took her down, which you could only do a few minutes into the game in the Nitro Dome arena, she will give you infinite ammo supply and increase all weapon damage by 6.5%. That's a better damage increase than Ares medallion, comboed with the infinite ammo. Rocket ammo was extremely hard to find, so the actual mythic weapon she gave you in the form of the boom bolt comboed so well with this. It was great at countering cars, great at just spamming at people. Regardless, you did not then have to worry about ammo for the rest of the game. But this was a hot drop in the center of the map, so coming away with her medallion and taking it down without someone trying to kill you in the process was not easy. Oscar, he is high up on this list because I've comboed the weapons with the medallion for the chapter 5 characters. Not only is Oscar just an extremely cool guy who's hanging out in a really cool part of the chapter 5 season 1 map, he would give you the mythic auto frenzy shotgun, the most powerful spammy shotgun that could win you up close gunfights without even thinking. Just hold the trigger down and you would win them. It was actually heavily nerfed throughout season 1, and fun fact, he did actually come back as a boss where you could get his mythic shotgun again later on in chapter 5, but his medallion was no longer available then. So we enter the top 10 with the Aspect of Siphon Medallion. Taking down the Hades boss and picking up his medallion would give you the Siphon effect, effect, which would grant you plus 50 health or shield, depending on how much health and shield you have, from every elimination. Siphon had been removed from competitive at the time, so this is a very important medallion to go for. Even in public games, having the ability to Siphon is so powerful. As we start to get over halfway in this list, the medallions are going to get even stronger, which is the only reason this one isn't even higher up on the list, as Peter Griffin, the final Chapter 5 Season 1 boss I have placed, and I've placed him highest, maybe because I'm just a little bit biased that Peter Griffin was so incredibly popular and an iconic part of the start of Chapter 5. But getting his mythic hammer pump shotgun, when shotguns were not very strong at the time, was so powerful because you could actually one-pump people with it. Let's not forget that when you took down Peter Griffin, that custom animation and his face on the medallion. Look, I may be a bit biased with his ranking, but I had to put him high on the list. Megalodon, another Chapter 5 Season 3 boss. Once taking him down at his ship that crashed onto the island, you'd get infinite nitro. That meant a lot of things. Increased movement speed, fall damage immunity, reload speed increase, sprint on water, unlimited stamina, and explosive bashing power. All of these were given to you infinitely for the rest of the game in a season where Nitro was so powerful. Despite Nitro being nerfed throughout the season, to have these effects all game long was ridiculously overpowered. And I actually think that this boss was maybe overlooked quite a lot during the season because of how chaotic it was with cars and Nitro Fist going around. This medallion was incredibly strong. The aspect of agility medallion, from taking down Cerberus, one of the most popular bosses I think of all time, you would get infinite underworld dash charges. The dash charges would appear around you as little floating skulls, so you could tell how many you had left. And these would recover infinitely throughout the game, so you'd always have that movement ability in your back pocket. A lot of people would take down Cerberus just to get the incredible mythic Gatekeeper shotgun, but in that season, I actually preferred going for the legendary version of the shotgun because you could modify it to give it additional shots per clip, which I actually rated more so than just dealing a little bit more damage in the mythic version. It's safe to say this medallion was incredibly powerful. A bit like the Machinist's medallion. Machinist? Mechanic? Machinist? I always said that word wrong during the season, but hopefully Machinist is right. So once you took down the boss, this would give you an even better shield regeneration than Siphon or anything else we'd had in the past by granting you up to a max of 75 shield. It was even better than stacking up the Season 1 medallions, as that would actually cap off your shield regeneration at 50. This one, taking you all the way up to 75, would free up your 5 item slots. To me, you didn't have to worry as much about health and shield regen, and you could focus on just having the most powerful weapons and utility items in your inventory. The shield regeneration was very fast, very powerful, and made for a very strong medallion, but not as strong as number 5, the most recent medallion we've had, Godzilla. I'm so sad that he was in the game for such a little amount of time. What an incredible start to Chapter 6, where we'll see so many more medallions come to the game. You have to be the player that dealt the most amount of damage to Godzilla, and you'd be instantly granted the Godzilla medallion that would give you infinite dashes, very similar to the aspect of agility Cerberus medallion. But let's not forget that in this season, there is no other way to dash. This is literally the only way to do it. A lot of people, I think, overlooked this and was just focusing on becoming Godzilla, but actually taking him down was a really powerful tool to get this medallion to go on to then win the game. In Chapter 5, Season 4, Doombot Siphon medallion has creeped its way up the list because of one thing that a lot of people overlook. Its ability was Siphon, so giving you plus 50 shield or health upon elimination. But what a lot of people forgot about is that Siphon was actually active within ranked game modes at the time, meaning that if you took a player down with this medallion on, you were actually getting plus 100 regeneration of your health or shield every time you took down a player. It's like instantly recovering all the health and damage that you've taken in a fight straight away. And I don't think Epic Games really wanted this to actually be in game like that. Now for a new medallion in the form of the Night Rose medallion. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I love the little boss battle you've got to do, and you can actually take her down very fast once you know what you're doing. And with limited medallions on the map, and most of Chapter 6 Season 1, you felt a lot more powerful than someone else on the map that didn't have one. As soon as you got it, every time you swap item, the previous weapon will become reloaded. And since there's so much loot, 100% sword spawn right by this boss as well. It's a really popular spot to go to. In fact, it is Nick A30's go-to drop spot in Chapter 6. One of the best starts to the game, comboing with the medallion and mythics you get from taking down the boss. You're well on your way to winning already. At number 2, we have one of the new medallions in the form of Shogun X's medallion. Only available very much towards the end of the game. Epic do this when they know that something's powerful, which is why it's an end game medallion. Defeat this boss high up in the sky, and this will give you infinite stamina and invisibility while sprinting, meaning in the end zone you can literally just run around in circles and people will probably struggle to see you and start shooting everyone else instead. There's no cooldown, there is no limit. You can just sprint for invisibility. You get the mythic Typhoon Blade from the boss as well. It is a fantastic upgraded version of a terribly ranked Mysterio medallion right from the beginning of this video. I love the fact that Epic have revisited a way that medallion works to improve it and make it better, but what about that number 1 spot? Well, despite the fact it was in a very popular drop spot for Chapter 5 Season 4, it was used by the FNCS 2024 Global Champions. Hoyo and Peterbot used this medallion to win, which shows you how powerful it is. By taking down Emma Frost, you would get the reveal medallion. Every 50 seconds, nearby players would be scanned and marked for another 15 seconds, and she dropped the incredibly powerful Mythic Burst Assault Rifle. Every single player around you will be shaking, knowing that they are marked, but they don't know where you are. To put into perspective just how powerful this is, in the new Godzilla boss, when you use the Roar ability to scan players nearby you, they only appear on your screen for like 3 to 5 seconds. This was 15. It was so powerful. I don't think we'll ever see it return in this way again, and if we do, it will be severely nerfed. And if it can win you an FNCS championship, it's deserving of a number 1 spot for me, but let me know if you agree. If you've enjoyed this ranking, be sure to enter code ALIEN in the item shop to support me whenever you buy anything in game. And click on screen here to see me ranking even more items within the world of Fortnite. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you over there.